So look, we're sitting in this building here now. This is the outdoor build that we completed. We started this a few weeks ago. We learnt a lot. We took the time to get a lot of things right. So we weren't rushed with this one like we were with the last. All the things that we've learnt from this now will be folded into the program, and this is the second house in the world that a construction robot's ever built. So I'm looking forward to house number 20 and house number 200.
And it was good. We did it in all weather conditions. It was pretty tough trying to deal with weather, hot temperatures. We even built at night as well, so that was quite an achievement.
And some of those daytime temps, we had outdoor slab temps of plus 50 degrees Celsius, and I think wind gusts of over 25 knots at times. So it did prove a lot for us. And it's answered a lot of questions. And during that process too, one of the things that I liked was being able to bring some key folks here and have them standing up on the viewing platform, watching the machine actually laying blocks. Yeah. I mean, it's a stunning thing to watch, and every single person that went away from here was very, very impressed.
Yeah, look, it's great to see the enthusiasm. Whenever you do show people here, everyone suddenly goes along with more ideas, what they can do with it, how it's going to influence and change what's a very old industry and sometimes a very laggy industry in what we want to do. So all I've ever seen is enthusiasm.
Obviously, we have to deal with a lot of questions from people about how we do different things, because we do some things differently. Everything from the way that we would tie a roof down and the way that we would insert, steel rebar down through the cavities of the walls, the way that we deal with waterproofing and slab set downs and all those things. And we've had, 5 odd years of thinking about all those things now, and we've had a chance now to actually put a lot of those things into a practical environment, and let our team start working out how we can do this better and better,
Yeah. I think the clever thing, and I'm talking about the whole team, is that we've aligned ourselves with existing industry elements and modules and processes, so that every time everyone comes to see what we do, they understand, that's how the door frame interacts with the modules. That's how the window frame interacts. So you're not trying to move people away too much of a paradigm shift. They actually get it, and they understand that when we start talking about the design with architects, and we start talking about with builders and how they're supposed to interact with the robot, it's just a natural workflow. There's no one having to go away, I've got to really rethink what we're doing.
Yep. You touched on the differences there, Mike. One of the interesting things is how different construction is around the world. So for Western Australians who are used to seeing a double cavity brick wall, this build probably looks a little unusual, being a single wide brick. But in Germany and Europe, that's pretty much the standard way of doing it. Yeah. And in Queensland, it's all entirely CMU built with no cavities. So what we've been doing here is just demonstrating a few different techniques for that global audience. It's not just West Australian based or even Australian based. We've used materials and techniques which could be sort of used around the world. The current variability around the world comes about from a number of different reasons, being climate variation, local availability of materials, and just the general building techniques which have sprung up and become accepted over the years. So we could have done it in any style and people would have gone, well, that's not how we do it here. So really you've just got to open your mind up and go, well, how does the world actually build houses, and recognise that it is a little different around the world, partly because they have been using different materials, different degrees of skill with their local labour force, different availability of stuff and different traditions in the different areas. And what we're shifting into is the new paradigm of robotic construction, which needs to fit in with all of those, but also advance those local ways of doing things.
And different audiences need to be taken on the journey in different ways.
It's interesting what Mark talked about earlier is what we created in our outside build was a number of scenarios which look to address things like the technology response that we need to do in the building elements, right the way from the slab interface to the first touch point of a block, how we put a waterproof membrane there, how we deal with the wall tie system, how we deal with tying the roof down. We've even put a little bit of external skin face work to see what the interfaces were. And generally what you'll see is, with Mark saying that we chose a big, thick 240 deep block, that was based on a European model. That's where we first came from. The first R&D was driven by that.
One of the other interesting things is that once the laying cost per square metre gets down to a certain level, we're actually extremely competitive against stick built. Yes. And drywall finished housing. And once you get to that point, the amount of construction work that opens up is just incredible.
Yeah.
And that's just a matter of time until we get to that point.
Very much so. I also think it's about the value-add opportunities that we create. When we look at the block and the block geometry that the guys designed originally, things like putting services down in the voids without, seriously reducing the need for on-site chasing and some of those aspects for safety. It's a second trade. The other derivatives that we get with the accuracy, where we might be able to get to lock up a lot earlier by using roof truss systems where they become much more just-in-time methodologies.
The end game for me, as far as I'm concerned, is to improve the forecastability of the delivering of that home. And if we can do that much more accurately, the builder should therefore be able to better forecast the cost.